Baseball, live on the WB11.
From the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota, WB11 Sports proudly presents New York Yankees baseball. Today, the Yankees take on the Minnesota Twins. The starting pitchers for today's game are Ramiro, Mendoza for the Yankees, and former Yankee Eric Milton for the Twins. Hello, everybody. I'm Bobby Mercer along with Tommy John, and welcome to New York Yankees baseball here on the WB11. It's a special day. It is Mom's Day. We want to wish everybody, all moms out there, a very happy and wonderful day on a special day for them. But today, the Yankees will try to start a new winning streak. They got defeated last night by the score of 8-1. So it's Ramiro Mendoza who goes for the Yankees, but he will be facing off from the former New York Yankee, Eric Milton.
The Twins are really high on Eric Milton simply because he does one thing that a lot of pitchers nowadays don't. He throws strikes. He's around the plate with all of his pitches. When you're around the plate with your fastball and your curveball, the umpires have a chance to call strikes, the batters swing and miss, and you also get good defensive plays, as we'll see right here with Ortiz diving to his right. Eric Milton, the Twins absolutely love him. He's a keeper, and he's really young.
And he's only 23 years old, as you mentioned, 1996 first-round draft pick for the Yankees. Without Eric Milton being in the trade with the Minnesota Twins, the Yankees would not have gotten a guy like Chuck Knobloch, okay? So the Yankees will have to change their pitching rotation a little bit today, Tommy John. Ramiro Mendoza goes in front of David Cone.
Well, they pushed David Cone back because David Cone, we'll see right here, going to his left, falls off the mound and then comes back to his right and kind of twisted a knee, tweaked the knee a little bit, and the Yankees, rightfully so, Joe Torre and the medical staff moved him back to Tuesday, and they gave a start to Ramiro Mendoza. When Mendoza is on, he has one of the best sinkers in the American League. And Mel Stottlemyre wants him to throw more sinkers and less four-seam fastballs.
In his last start, he had that sinker ball working. Only 3 hits and 7 innings pitched for Mendoza. He's got a rag arm, and he can always adjust to a different move. Our Susan Walbott had a chance to talk with David Cone about the update on his health. Let's go down to her and see what he had to say.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And with me is David Cone. And David, you're being pushed back till Tuesday. Let's go back a little bit. When you come off the mound, you're fielding Luis Alicea's bunt. You hear a pop. What goes through your mind?
Well, here we go again. I mean, obviously I've had my problems over the last 2 years, and I talked a lot in the spring about trying to be healthy the whole year, and here I am struggling at the beginning of the year, but fortunately it wasn't anything serious.
And what is the condition of the knee now? You said the swelling is down a little bit. Are you okay?
Yeah, most of the swelling's gone. I threw on the side off the mound yesterday. Things went well, so I expect to be ready Tuesday night.
All right, now this has nothing to do with your arm, but how do you keep your arm strong when you've got a little problem with your knee?
Well, you just continue the rehab program. I mean, I'm still sort of at the tail end of my rehab in terms of coming off surgery and trying to do the arm weights and get the strength back in my shoulder. And I'm not where I need to be, but I'm hopeful that I'll get there.
Now, today is Mother's Day, and I know your mom is very much on your mind. You have a little Mother's Day message for Mrs. Cone back in New York right now?
Sure, Mom. We're all pulling for her. She's got a lot of people pulling for her, and she knows I love her, and she knows that times are tough right now. She's going through a little personal health problem, but you know, things look good, and I think she'll come out of it.
Thanks, David. And our best to Mrs. Cone, too, and everybody else on this Mother's Day. Bobby and Tommy will be back with the lineups after this.
Welcome back to the Metrodome. Bobby Mercer along with Tommy John. The Yankees conclude their 8-game road trip today with this game in Minneapolis. The starting lineups for the New York Yankees is brought to you by Corona Extra Beer. Corona Extra, change your whole latitude. And a very familiar lineup. Knobloch leads off, followed by Jeter, then O'Neill batting third. Bernie Williams looking for his first home run. This is known as the Homer Dome, so it may come today. Tino Martinez at first base. Raines will get to start as the designated hitter this afternoon. Chad Curtis in left field. Posada behind home plate. And Scott Brocious at third.
And now here's the defense brought to you by Nissan. Latham, Lawton, Merced across the outfield. Gates, Mears, Walker, Coomer on the infield, and Terry Steinbach back of the plate today after Javier Valentin had a tough night last night boxing up a crate of baseballs with the young pitcher. They want the veteran back of the plate.
And all eyes is on this young man this afternoon from both sides, from the Twins side, obviously, and from the New York Yankees side. 23-year-old left-hander Eric Milton will make the first pitch to Chuck Knobloch, leading off in this final game. Knobloch batting 240, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. And it's always a fun time, you know, kind of an anxious time to see a young kid who has lots of talent that'll be out of play. Just up out of the minor leagues, involved in a very huge trade that sent Chuck Knobloch to the Yankees, and the only way the Minnesota Twins would have made that trade was to have Eric Milton thrown in, and then he gets his start with the Minnesota Twins. It looks pretty good for him.
Well, as we said in the opening, that Milton throws strikes. He comes right at you. He's a very confident pitcher. Four-seam fastball, and he'll run the ball in. Right there.
And he tried to run the ball in on Chuck Knobloch, and very appropriately in this game, Milton faces Chuck Knobloch, the guy he got traded for, and the first at bat. So the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I know you said in the opening, TJ, that one thing you like about him, he throws strikes for a young pitcher.
And that's what Tom Kelly's left-handed pitchers that they've been bringing up here for the last 4 or 5 years, they pitch well in the minor leagues. Then when they get up to the big leagues, for whatever reason, home plate seems to be moving, and they can't find a stake big enough to drive it in home plate to keep it still.
Swing and foul back out of the glove of Steinbach. So Knobloch stays alive.
See, Steinbach got the low target, ball down, and Knobloch was really fortunate that he swung over the top of the ball and just ticked it.
A liner and over the head of Gates in the left field. Knobloch around first. He'll be on his way to second. The throw will not be in time, so Knobloch leads it off. But they double here at the top of the first inning.
Watch the ball inside. Knobloch really didn't get that much on the ball, and Brett Gates, had he been about 6 inches taller, would have had the ball. But this is what you do in this stadium, and how you play Chuck Knobloch. You pinch Chuck Knobloch up the middle, and that ball down the line gave him a chance to get a double. And Knobloch got the double because he ran hard, Bobby, right when he hit the ball. Most guys will hit the ball and say, okay, I've got a single. Then they see it's got a chance, and now they turn on the speed, and they're throwing out at second base.
Always an aggressive runner. And Knobloch down at second. Now Jeter will try to move him. If he doesn't, knock him in to third with less than 2 outs. Looked like Jeter was trying to bunt his way on there and then move Knobloch up to third. So it's in for a call strike. And Jeter just gets better each and every time he comes to the plate, batting .303 now. 5 home runs, 19 RBIs. Sky is the limit for him. And Milton now finds the inside corner. It's 0-2 as they continue to try to throw that hard stuff in on the hands of Derek Jeter.
That's what the Twins said today during batting practice. We were talking about Mike Morgan hitting Jeter last night, and they said they weren't throwing at Jeter, that they're trying to pound him inside.
And another pitch inside, but this time it's too low. Baseball is a constant adjustment.
Yes, it is.
Both by the pitcher and by the hitter. And until Derek Jeter shows in the American League that he can handle that ball inside, they're just going to stay in there all the time.
And what Derek Jeter has to do is just pick one pitch that's maybe in your count that you think it might be inside. Try to turn on it and hurt somebody hard down the left field line. Then you will get the ball out over the plate, and that's where Derek Jeter likes the ball, out over the plate.
What a road trip it has been for Derek Jeter and a lot of this New York Yankee offensive ball club, batting .387, a couple of home runs and 7 RBIs, and he had a big night in that Texas series, last game of that series. The pitch misses low and inside, so now Milton has run the count to Jeter 3-2. Nobody out here in the top of the first. Yankees have a runner down at second. And on deck is O'Neill.
We've got to keep an 0-2 stat, and by the 0-2 stat, how many times this year you'll see a pitcher go 0-2 and then all of a sudden the count's 2-2, 3-2?
Well, the 3-2 pitch lined in the left field for a base hit. Knobloch had to hold up momentarily, so he will have to stop at third, and the first 2 Yankees are on, and they are threatening here in the top of the first inning against Milton.
by going 3-2, you just make Jeter that much a better hitter. That pitch at 0-2, it might not have had that kind of a swing, but the pitchers go 0-2, and you see Knobloch hesitating, and he hesitated in the proper way. You got to make sure the ball in front of you goes through. It's the first thing they teach you in baseball 101.
So Paul O'Neill will step in, and O'Neill has a chance to put the Yankees on top here in the first inning. Nobody out. 328 hitter, 3 home runs and 21 RBIs on the year. And a good fastball by Milton, swung on and missed, strike 1. As we mentioned, a lot of the Yankees having a good road trip. Yankees hadn't lost on this road trip until they were defeated last night. But O'Neill batting .467 coming into this game on this 8-game road trip. Lines it hard into center field. Lawton comes on. Knobloch will tag and come on to score. The Yankees will take a 1-0 lead. Good play by Lawton in center field. And Paul O'Neill does his job.
The Minnesota Twins had Paul O'Neill shaded to the left field side of center field, and that tells me if I'm hitting, I want to hit off my outfielders, because if they're going to shade me to the opposite way, you see Matt Lawton coming in, could not have made that play unless he was playing where he was. And Matt Lawton does not have a real good arm. For an outfielder, he has a very, very suspect arm. You can take the extra base and challenge that arm.
So far, the Yankee batters have not been fooled by Milton. Bernie Williams takes the pitch up high for a ball.
It's always hard, Bob, for a pitcher facing his the team that he was traded from. Even if you're a veteran, it's tough that first time out, because you want to show them that you can pitch.
Bat in the inside corner now. It's 1-1. With 1 out, Yankees lead at 1-0. Well, Milton, only 23 years old, as we mentioned, was rated when he was with the New York Yankees as the minor league pitcher of the year in the Florida State League, and had an overall record in the minor leagues of 14-6. Well hit, and a nice play by Gates. Can he throw Bernie out at first? No, he cannot. Coomer had to come off the bag. So an infield hit by Bernie will move Jeter to second, and the Yankees will have runners now at first and second, and only 1 out. 3 hits in this inning so far by the Yankees.
That was a good play by Todd Walker. The ball hitting by Brent Gates. Gates didn't even hesitate looking at second base. He had one spot to throw the ball, and that was Coomer at first base. Coomer made a good play by coming off and catching the ball kind of like an outfielder.
You got Brent Gates playing third base. He's got a second base arm,
yeah,
so he's not going to throw anybody out on that play. Tino Martinez will step in now. And the slow breaking ball low and outside.
And the reason that Coomer is not at third base and Ortiz at first base is Ortiz last night batting broke the hook of the hammock in his hand, and Coomer's versatility puts him over there, but now they're short at third base.
Off the end of the bat in shallow right field, Merced backed up, and now he won't be able to catch it. Jeter will round third. Nice heads-up play by Derek Jeter. He will come on to score, and the Yankees will take a 2-0 lead. And very familiar here in the Metrodome. When a fly ball goes up, it's always a challenge by anybody. But when Tino took the swing, Merced took about 3 or 4 steps back, and that was it.
Well, Tino hit a changeup, and not hit a changeup from Milton, but he hit a changeup off his bat, took a big healthy swing and didn't get anything on the ball. And Merced was reading the bat, and he read the bat swing and got fooled by the ball off the bat.
Which is very common in baseball. From being a former outfielder, I can tell you right now that's the most difficult thing for an outfielder, because a guy like Martinez, a power hitter, takes a full swing, and your first reaction is to make two or three moves back.
Well, you know, too, Bobby, on turf, if they were playing in Yankee Stadium, Merced might have made an attempt to make a dive at that ball, a sliding catch. Here on turf, if you can't get it, you have to read it early and then hold up. And it looks like to the fans here at the ballpark and on television that you jaked it a little bit, that you didn't, you came up short.
Well, Tim Raines will try to knock in Williams at second base, batting .299, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, the designated hitter this afternoon. Tino at first, Williams down at second. 2-0, the Yanks lead it. That pitch almost hit Raines. Now it's 2 balls and no strikes. You take a look at the teams that Milton has pitched against so far: Kansas City, Seattle, Oakland, Texas, Baltimore. His losses have come against the better offensive club. Seattle beat him, Texas beat him, and also Baltimore beat him.
After the Martinez hit, Dick Such, the pitching coach for the Twins, went out to the mound and to give Milton just a little confidence. But now he fell behind 3-0. He's trying to pick. And by picking, I mean he's trying to throw corner, first pitch, second pitch, instead of going challenge, and then you go to the corners as you get ahead. You expand the strike zone.
We'll see what Joe Torre does here with runners on first and second for him. 3-1 count coming, 1 out. The runners will hold. And the pitch is swung on and missed, strike 2. Now it's 3-2.
A 3-1, I believe that was a changeup. The ball went down and Tim Raines swung over the top of the ball. He doesn't throw a forkball. He throws four-seam fastball, curveball, and changeup. A 3-1, pretty good for a 23-year-old.
The runners will take off on a 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled away. I guess another question, Bernie will return back to second base. Valentin had a good night last night with the bat, but he's not in the lineup this afternoon. You got the veteran catcher Terry Steinbach catching the young rookie left-hander.
You don't want 2 rookies out there on the field going against a ball club like the Yankees. You want the professor back at the plate. Terry Steinbach has seen everybody. He's been on a lot of good ball clubs with a lot of good pitchers.
Runners will take off again, and the pitch is hit well into left field. Going back is Latham, and in front of the warning track, he will make the catch. And the Yankee runners will return back to their respective bases. 2 gone. I guess Raines just hit it on the end of the bat a little bit. He didn't get the full lift to it.
Milton massaging that horsehide out there, trying to get a little more life into it, get a little of the wildness out of the ball. But really, Terry Steinbach means so much to a young staff. You just hand the game over to him where the pitcher doesn't have to think. Doesn't have to think, what do I want to throw here? What do I want to throw there? Terry, you call it, I'll throw it.
Chad Curtis takes a call strike.
You know, even as a veteran pitcher, I did that with Thurman. When I came over, hey, you know the American League hitters better than I. I've been in the National League for 7 or 8 years. You call the pitches and I'll throw them.
Outside and low. Check his on-base percentage. He is second in the American League with a .465 on-base percentage. Just in front of Pudge Rodriguez down at Texas. Seems to always get the job done whenever the Yankees need it. Nice stop by Steinbach. Ernie will hold at second.
Last night, that ball might have gotten through Valentin. You see the short hopped changeup. Steinbach went down, didn't even try to catch the ball. Took it off his chest protector in the C position to keep the ball in front of him. Good veteran leadership.
Popped up into right field. Everybody points up to the sky. The sky here is just a white roof. Merced takes care of it. The Yankees do damage against the young left-hander. They lead it 2-0. Yankees baseball is sponsored by the Toyota Camry, the #1 selling car in America, Toyota every day. And by Corona Extra, change your whole attitude. And by General Motors. By Nobody Beats the Wiz for the biggest selection and guaranteed lowest prices on home entertainment and communication products. Music, movies, and more. Nobody beats the Wiz. And welcome back to the Metrodome. It is a beautiful day outside, but we're inside here at the Hubert Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Yankees took a 2-0 lead in the top of the first inning, so Minnesota comes to bat for the first time here in the bottom of the first, facing off with Ramiro Mendoza. 1-1 on the year, little high ERA, and the first batter is Todd Walker, their second baseman. Walker batting .370. That's in the top 5 in the American League. That pitch swung on and fouled out of play, and it's 0-2. But Walker is back at familiar territory, TJ. He played third base for Minnesota last year. Knobloch trade opens up the second base job for him, and he's in there almost every day.
They had the Walker at third base, and he just couldn't adapt to the position. He's better suited at second base. He had to work on some things, mainly his pivot. He was coming across the bag and was worried about getting dumped by the sliding second, or by the runner sliding into second base, and they had to work on him getting to the bag a little sooner so that he could turn and throw and get out of the way.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and a pitch way out of the strike zone. So first man up is struck out by Mendoza. That'll bring up Brent Gates, the third baseman.
We saw sinker curveball, and that's just a straight four-seam fastball that just took off and did not come down. And Todd Walker was fooled on that pitch. Not so much by the speed of it, but by the movement of it.
And the location. I mean, you go up there thinking about down, you know, and then all of a sudden they throw one up. It kind of throws you off. So Gates gets the start at third base today. Ground ball to Jeter. And there's 2 gone. And our starting lineup is brought to you by Corona Extra Beer. Corona Extra, change your whole attitude. Walker, Gates, first 2 batters up. Molitor, the designated hitter. Lawton, Coomer, Merced, Steinbach, Mears, and Latham. Round out the 9 for Tom Kelly.
And here's the defense brought to you by Nissan. Posada, Brocious, Martinez, Knobloch, Jeter at shortstop. We'll see him making some great plays on the sinker. Curtis, Williams, and O'Neill across the outfield. Derek Jeter, to a sinker ball pitcher, is a very, very important cog. He'll get a lot of balls.
And the future Hall of Famer, Paul Molitor, will step in with 2 gone.
You think so?
I'm going to go out on the limb on a guy like Molitor. I don't normally do that. Mendoza tries to work inside and misses. Now it's 2-0.
I tell you, Paul Molitor should go in the Hall of Fame of baseball and the Hall of Fame of good guys, because he is a good guy and comes from a very good family.
Hit hard, but right to Brocious. So Twins are gone. Mendoza's done his job. A couple of ground balls and a strikeout. That's easy. Yankees lead it 2-0. Remind you to catch all the action when the Twins come to the stadium for 3 games. Friday, May the 15th at 7:30, Saturday, May the 16th, and Sunday the 17th, both at 1:30. On Sunday the 17th, fans 14 and younger will receive a Valentino Beanie Baby. Boy, those are hot. Compliments of Haagen-Dazs. Tickets are available now at the stadium and through Ticketmaster and the Yankee Clubhouse stores. So a big 10-game homestand coming up for the Yankees. After they conclude this game today, they'll fly back to New York and hope everybody will come out to the stadium. Watch this good ball club. Posada leads it off for the Yankees, and Milton has fallen behind. 2 balls and no strikes. Posada batting .262, 5 home runs, 13 runs batted in for Inside corner for a call strike. Now it's 2-1. Well, Joe Torre, with his catching staff, he can keep these guys pretty healthy all year long and pretty strong. Girardi caught last night, so Posada had the night off. Swing and a miss. Now it's 2-2.
Jorge Posada with a lot of power. And you'll see Milton just blowing the ball right down the middle of the plate, a little above the belt. A good four-seam fastball with some pop.
And hit past the first baseman down the right field line. So Posada, like Knobloch, leads it off with a double here in the second. Knobloch got the Yankees started in the first inning when they scored 2 with a double. And that'll bring up Scott Brocious.
There's a case, Bobby. He threw a 2-1 fastball and threw it by him, and then made a little better pitch, got it down and out over the plate, and Posada stroked the ball inside the first base line. Sometimes it's not where the pitch is, but just where the batter swings.
Now we'll be up to Brocious, the 9th place hitter, to get Posada to third, or a base hit to drive him in. And he's going to bunt his way on. Milton will look to third. No chance to get Posada. It wasn't the best bunt, but it got the job done. 1 gone.
But Bobby, that's what a 9th place hitter is supposed to do, especially when you've got Knobloch, Jeter coming up. Brocious bunts the ball, bunts it hard, but because it was not a force play, Milton had to take the turn and throw to Coomer at first base. A good job of baseball, just good solid baseball by Brocious, but obviously that came from the bench and Joe Torre.
So Brocious, good job done, and that will leave it up to Chuck Knobloch to knock in Posada at third base. The infield will come in. And the pitch in there for a call strike. Now it's 0-1. See the infield.
That's
they
tough
will try
putting
to,
in.
Yeah, they will try to cut that runner off if they can.
Sometimes I really think that on turf, Bobby, you don't have to play in as close as they do. I think you can play back a few steps, and the ball's still going to get to you as fast as you would be playing in on grass. If you play back almost halfway, the ball will get to you about the same time, especially with a catcher at third base. I don't think you need to be in that close.
Each time the ball hits this artificial surface, it seems that it just picks up speed. Knobloch with a big swing. Now it's 22.
Knobloch was not trying to drive the ball through the infield. He was trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark.
I think he was trying to drive the ball for a 2-run shot, like
he was trying to hit that ball in the upper deck, and I think when you try to hit the ball so hard, you slow your bat speed down, and your bat gets slower than if you just take a normal handsy swing.
Well, it's unlike Knobloch because he tries to hit the ball the opposite way all the time anyway, and I've seen him swing quite a few times, you know, from his heels. You may see that from Strawberry, but not necessarily Knobloch. Sends this one into center field. Posada will tag. Lawton will make the catch. And the throw will not be in time. And Posada comes on to score. And the Yankees now lead it 3-0. Knobloch picks up his 9th RBI.
That RBI came as a result of the sacrifice by Brocious. But you saw Knobloch getting on top of the ball. Unlike the last swing where he was trying to lift it out of the ballpark, you could see his right hand come over the ball, and I would run on Matt Lawton every time. I'm 55 years old, and I think I could run on him. No, I don't either.
I think that would be a challenge. I'd like to see that.
No,
I saw you run.
I overloaded
when
myself.
You were 28 years old, okay?
I'm faster now at 55 than I was at 28.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, obviously. 2 balls, no strikes to Derek Jeter. And 2 gone here in the second. On the outside corner, 2-1. Eric Milton's pitch to Chuck Knobloch. I think kind of a rookie mistake, pitching up in the strike zone with a runner at third, a sacrifice situation.
With the infield end, he's throwing the ball up.
Yeah. You're kind of doing the hitter a favor unless you've got good 100-mile-an-hour fastball. You can blow it by them.
What you're looking for in the situation with the runner on third base is pop-up strikeout or ground ball. And you certainly aren't going to get ground balls with chest-high fastballs.
2-out walk given to Jeter. It's Such alongside of Tom Kelly. Such the pitching instructor. He's the guy that's charting. TK has won a couple of world championships with this Minnesota franchise, even though he's got a losing record here. 1987 and 1991, they were rocking here at the Metrodome.
Homer Hankey's in 87, Jack Morris and Scott Erickson in 91.
And Paul O'Neill takes the ball in the dirt. There they are. This is a very quiet Metrodome this afternoon, but during those two World Series, I mean, you couldn't even hear yourself think in this place. That's how loud it was.
Joe McGrain was with St. Louis in 87, tried to pitch in here with earplugs on. The kind that airplane mechanics use, those plugs in your ear, because it was so loud. He couldn't hear himself pitch. And those two guys right there had a lot to do with that 87 and 91. Matter of fact, those guys up there, other than Jackie Robinson, I helped their careers along quite a bit.
Well, you're talking about Harmon Killebrew and Carew and Oliva, Herbeck, and Kirby Puckett. Kind of the wall of fame up top in right center field here at the Metrodome.
They got Killebrew Drive out by Mall of America. And every time we would go out there when I lived up here, my knees would start shaking, my stomach would start churning. But the old left-hander pitched against all those guys, except Jackie Robinson.
Good off-speed pitch by Eric Milton.
Watch the breaking ball. Not a real good one. You see Steinbach, watch where he's sitting outside, and watch him reach back to his right. But the ball had just a little bit of late movement, and it fooled Paul O'Neill.
So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the second. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. O'Neill is gone. Yankees are gone here in the second, but they do pick up a run on that leadoff double by Jorge Posada. They lead it 3-0. 3-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Minnesota coming to bat, and Matt Lawton will lead it off. Boy, he had a big night last night. Off of Andy Pettitte, bases loaded. Pretty good style job by Matt Lawton. It was a grand slam home run. That was the hit that really blew the game wide open. And the first pitch from Mendoza fouled off to the left side and out of play. How about that, TJ? Andy's reaction. I don't think he liked the way Lawton styled on that grand slam.
You know, we were talking about that during batting practice. I really didn't see anything that offensive. In this day and age, with what Lawton did, I've seen things a lot worse than that. I'm sure Andy Pettitte would have to be more angry with himself for throwing a belt high middle of the plate fastball than what Matt Lawton did after he hit it up in the seats.
Up high, now the count is 2-1 to Lawton. Well, Pettitte last night, he just struggled and never could find the strike zone. His rhythm was off, mechanics were off, and consequently Minnesota knocks him out of the game and wins it 8-1.
What do you have, 5 games in a row that he won? You know, you lose a game and you win 5 more in a row. I mean, and Andy Pettitte is very, very capable of doing that. But 5 games in a row, that's a lot of wins in a row.
Another foul off to the left side. Following Lawton this afternoon will be Coomer and then Merced. The Yankees lead it 3-0. That grand slam that he hit off of Pettitte last night is his second career grand slam. Holds the hands real high. And Mendoza tries to sneak one in on the inside corner. Now it's 3-2.
That is a swing locker right there. You see the Posada setting up inside. Boom. Good pitch, good movement. Just a little too far inside. But if you're going to miss, Bobby, you don't want to miss out over the plate the way Andy Pettit did last night. You want to miss right where Mendoza missed inside. If you're going to miss inside, hit the batter and don't leave the ball out over the plate.
Fastball away, and he swings and catches a piece of it, so Lawton will stay alive.
You know, left-handed hitters are hitting .314 off Mendoza. I find that remarkable in that when you've got a sinker that moves like his, you should pitch better to lefties than you do righties.
Ball is more effective, and that's his second strikeout of the game. That looks like a little bit of a slider, curve ball or a breaking ball of some kind, but you're thinking about the ball going down and away, and those left-handers trying to chop at it.
I believe that was a slider or a good hard sinker. The ball had good down action. That was a slider. You could see him get on underneath the ball and put the dot spin on it. Kind of really a pretty good pitch from a young pitcher. A 3-2 breaking ball, second inning.
Mendoza only 25 years old, and it's strike one to Ron Coomer, the first baseman.
It's what when I helped coach my kids' high school baseball team down in Charlotte, and we had an incident kind of like that against one of our bitter rivals. And I told the guys, I said, the best thing to do is make them look bad at the plate and save all your energies for that.
Mendoza in front, 0-2 on Ron Coomer. And Coomer, the regular third baseman now for Minnesota, but a versatile player, can play many positions for Tom Kelly, having to play first base today because their rookie first baseman David Ortiz is out and will have surgery tomorrow because he broke a hamate bone in his right hand on a swing in the 8th inning last night.
Whoa. So your eyes got big when you saw that hanger coming. All hitters, when they see that, their eyes light up. And that ball wasn't even a strike. That if Ron Coomer took that pitch, it would have been out of the strike zone. But that ball's sitting there spinning just about letter high. And boy, that is hittable.
2 hopper to Jeter. 2 gone. A lot of high hopes for that young man there. That's David Ortiz. You can see the brace on his right hand. An unfortunate incident. Now he'll have surgery, and they say sometimes that can last, a couple of months. So, I don't know. Hopefully he'll be all right. They've got high hopes for him.
The Twins orthopedic surgeon, John Steebs, he and I were talking about that during batting practice. And he said there's a procedure now that they do where they go in and they put a screw in that bone and try to keep it. He said, but we're of the opinion that as a baseball player, you're better to go in, operate, take that little chip fracture out.
Orlando Merced. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs here in the second. Yankees lead at 3-0. Well, unlike you didn't do this, but Dr. Frank Jobe did. I mean, he trademarked the surgery, Tommy John surgery, so maybe David Ortiz will have a little bit more insight, and if he needs to trademark that.
The David Ortiz surgery.
David Ortiz hamate surgery. Fly ball to left field, easy play for Curtis. Well, I should say that here in the Metrodome. Fly balls are not easy for anybody, but Twins go 1, 2, 3, 6 in a row for Mendoza. Yankees in front. Front 3-0 here in the top of the third. Let's check the upcoming telecast brought to you by Ford. Expect more, get more. Let your Tri-State quality Ford dealers show you why there's more to afford. And MSG will telecast Monday and Tuesday against Kansas City. Both games starting at 7:30. Wednesday versus the Rangers at 7:30. And in our next game will be Thursday against the Texas Rangers at 7:30 right here on the WB11.
I think during our next telecast, I may go in a Fonzie shirt and kind of put my body up next to Juan Gonzalez, compare hammers.
Hopefully we won't be around when that happens, as Bernie Williams sends one high and fairly deep into center field. Lawton on the run, looking up though, and right on the middle of the warning track, the deepest part of the Metrodome. One gone. That was how close it was to Bernie Williams picking up his first home run here at the Homer Dome. First home run of the year.
This is a big ballpark between left center and right center. 408, if for whatever reason it seems like the ball does not carry that well to center field, but as tough as this dome is to catch fly balls, it's easier in the daytime than it is nighttime, because the sunshine outside lightens the dome up, and for whatever reason makes the ball, you can track it better. And Bernie's down there trying to work on that swing. Need about 6 more feet of carry.
Just got underneath it a bit. Been a long time since Bernie has hit his last home run. September the 28th, but this guy right here has hit a few home runs, 5. He's 1 for 1 today and has picked up his 35th RBI of the year. He is an RBI machine man. Good pitch by Milton on a breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes down to Martinez. Set the record last year in the month of April, driving in 33. That was broken this year by Juan Gonzalez. That's foul out of play, but Tino always up there in the leader department as far as runs batted in. Nice play by a fan.
Obviously, there's Bobby, there's 2 reasons why Tino is up there. He's 10 back of Juan Gonzalez, but Tino Martinez can get hot again. One, there's got to be guys on base, obviously, but he puts the ball in play when there's men in scoring position. And when you put the ball in play with a solid stroke, and he does not try to hit home runs, he just tries to hit the ball hard, and the home runs happen.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 gone here in the 3rd. Second strikeout for Milton. Eric Milton loved the Yankees so much that he put a tattoo of the New York Yankees on his left shoulder.
Watch this little breaking ball, just a little slider, slurve type pitch. You can see the dot spin on it right there. Pretty good pitch, good location, good down action.
So Tim Raines will bat with 2 gone.
From a pitcher's standpoint, I think Tino Martinez is easier to pitch to without any runners on base than he is with runners on.
Hit hard and back up the middle for a base hit. So a 2-out single by Raines keeps the Yankees alive here in the 3rd.
Fastball away, and it's a good pitch, and Tim Raines just goes right out there and slaps the ball up the middle. It's where you got to try to, when the batters or when the pitchers throw you away, batters got to try to hit the ball middle of the plate, middle of the field to the opposite way.
Chad Curtis will step in. Curtis flat out to right field, so he's 0 for 1. Beat at first base for the Yankees. Mentioned that tattoo on his left shoulder of the New York Yankees, and once the trade was made, he had to go back to the tattoo shop and have a Minnesota Twin.
Can you imagine what Mike Morgan's body would look like?
Yeah, Mike Morgan, who
looked like Dennis Rodman,
who pitched last night, has been with 10 clubs. He was really on pinpoint control for him. He's 38 years old, so he's the old guy on the staff, along with Bob Tewksbury. But yeah, if he was putting a symbol of every club that he played for, he'd have a lot of money invested in the tattoos.
I'm telling you, he'd look like Rodman.
Inside. May have caught his spikes or his foot on the pitcher's mound. It got away from him.
And he did the right thing. You see his foot comes down and gets caught. He's lucky that he didn't sprain an ankle, a knee, kind of like David Cone. But a pitcher's stride, the knee goes up and then it comes down and slides right along the ground. And he just hit the ground before he was ready, but he kept going towards home plate to avoid a balk.
Raines only needs a couple of stolen bases as we take a look at our Toyota box score. Quite a few hits already, 6 by the Yankees, none by Minnesota. They lead it 3-0, the Yanks do. As mentioning, Raines only needs a couple of stolen bases to become the 4th player this century to reach the 500, 800 plateau in the stolen base department. Very quiet here at the Metrodome on Mom's Day. Curtis trying to leave the yard on a high pitch. Now it's 2-2.
Milton's got a little pop on that fastball, up and out of the strike zone, about the same place where he threw Knobloch. And you can pitch a high ball hitter high. You just have to pitch him bad high. And Chad Curtis likes the ball up, but you just throw him a little higher than up.
Raines acted like he was going on that 2-2 pitch. Out of play, and he'll go back to first base.
2-2, 2 outs, good running pitch.
Raines has had so many problems with his legs, with pulled muscles. I guess there's just no way to, hold him back. Got to do what he can do. He's a veteran player. Shallow fly ball to right field. Arstead with a over-the-shoulder catch. Yankees are gone, so they waste a base runner here in the 3rd. But we played 2.5, and they lead it by 3. Walden will join us in the 4th. Will lead off double down at second with nobody out.
If you didn't know Terry Steinbach was not a catcher, you could kind of get an idea of that just watching his body. He has a catcher's body. But one of the things I've noticed about Mendoza, when he throws the ball high, he'll get underneath the ball. And you see, that was a pretty good pitch there. He got over the top of the ball and drove the ball down. And many times he'll get underneath it, and the ball will be from 3rd to 1st rather than 2nd to home.
And he blocks Mears on the back. So now the Twins with runners at 1st and 2nd. That'll bring up rookie Chris Latham. Well, Mears really crowding the plate. And Mendoza trying to run something in on the inside corner.
A lot of people will say, whoop, got him right in the hip pocket.
That's the best place to be hit, too. If you're going to be hit.
A lot of padding down there for some of us.
There are the runners. Nobody out. And Latham, the 9th place hitter. So the Twins now have batted at least one time against Mendoza. Lofted out into center field. Williams is there. Steinbach goes back to 2nd, so one gone.
Ninth place hitter up. Tino Martinez was creeping in, almost anticipating a bunt play, figuring that Joe Torre moved the corners up. Looking for a possible bunt play from the 9th place hitter. Latham does not have that kind of power. And now with the top of the lineup and Todd Walker, who can scald the ball, now you're going to play back to get 2.
He struck out his first time up against Mendoza.
There was one of the pitches that he got underneath it. The difference in it is just hand angle. His hand will be alongside the ball in line with his arm, and when his hand gets on top of the ball has down action.
Lined hard, but there is Jeter. He's going to turn it into a double play, and if they needed 3 outs, they would have got the triple play. Nice snag by the shortstop, and Mendoza and the Yankees save runs here in the third. We played 3 at the Metrodome. Yankees lead it 3-0. Susan Waldman coming up in the fourth. Back to the Metrodome. New York in front 3-0. And the Yankees coming to bat here in the fourth. We want to welcome Susan Waldman here in the fourth inning. You're looking as lovely as ever, Susan.
Thank you very much. You're looking very lovely too, Bobby Ray.
Thank you so much. Bobby Ray. Okay.
All right.
Only my dear friends call me Bobby Ray.
Are you your dear friend?
Absolutely. That's what I mean. Jorge Posada will lead it off for the Yankees here in the fourth inning, and he'll be followed by Brocious, and then back up top to Knobloch. Well, Eric Milton is... he was hit hard in the first inning, may have been a little bit too nervous and didn't pitch like he thought he would.
I'll bet he was a little nervous. It looked like his fastball had no movement on it. Everything was up, but he settled down nicely now.
And so, Posada led off the second inning with a double into right field. They produced a run out of that, so that's where we're at right now, 3-0. 8 hits off of Milton so far. Check that, 6 hits.
What's obvious about Eric Milton, Bobby, is he does know how to pitch. You see him mixing up his pitches and trying to change speeds. Not overpowering stuff. I expected a little more velocity out of him, but he's more like Andy Pettit than some of those hard throwers.
He's 6'3", 200 pounds. Good curveball there. And Mears will throw out Posada. Posada hustling down the line. One gone here in the fourth.
Actually, that curveball that you just mentioned was taught to him by Billy Connors, and you talked to Eric Milton, and he said he never threw a curveball till he left Maryland because no one taught him down there, and Billy Connors taught him how to throw that.
Yeah, he's featuring a curveball, a fastball, a changeup. He's got a pretty good off-speed pitch, and I think he's been working on a cutter now, kind of like what you were talking about with Andy, following in the footsteps of Andy Pettit. This is Scott Brocious. Well, hit into left field, and it may be out of here, and it will be out of here. So Scott Brocious, who bunted, a nice sacrifice back in the second, goes deep here in the fourth, and the Yankees will lead it 4-0.
And I'll bet if Scott Brocious thinks about last year at this time, he's got to have a big smile on his face. That is his first home run as a Yankee. Came into this game hitting .308. There's that perpetual smile that Brocious has had since he's put on a Yankee uniform.
Susan, now Brocious hits his first home run of '98.
Well, Bernie came close, right? Getting to Bernie.
Does that put more pressure on Bernie Williams now?
Poor Bernie.
Zach Knobloch now steps in.
Do you notice the boos get louder and louder for Knobloch? The pitch by Milton on the outside part of the plate, Brocious really gets around on it and just really smacks it into those stands in left field. Bad hands of that guy in the blue shirt.
Wow. One of those no-doubters. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. There, Brocious sits down to Bernie Williams. Bernie's going, sure, you got to go over there and sit down by me now. They'll take a shot at me and talk about me not having any home runs. That's foul down the left field side.
Outside part of the plate, not a terrible pitch, Bobby, but Brocious just gets around on it. And Eric Milton, he doesn't change expression very much, this kid. Very poised young man.
Just missing outside, the Knobloch. Well, now he's yeah, okay.
This
Well,
is what you do.
this is what you have to do if you want to get your first home run.
Bernie scratching his head. I know. I used to do that.
Well hit in the left field. But it's the old Adam ball as Latham takes care of it. And there's 2 gone. Couldn't hit it any harder.
Knobloch, I think, has handled himself very well this weekend. It can't be a good feeling to get booed, and he gets booed more with every at-bat. He starts off the first at-bat, they cheer him a little bit, and then the boos have gotten worse and worse with every at-bat.
Well, I think he expected it and came in here with that idea, but they're not happy that Chuck asked for a trade, and they remember all the comments, and I think the big thing was that as Derek Jeter takes one down low, the fact that they gave him the big contract, and then the moment they gave him the big contract, he asked to be traded out of here because he didn't like the way the direction the franchise was headed. Jeter 1 for 1. Metrodome has been very quiet this afternoon. It's so beautiful outside. It's one of those days where you'd like to part the roof here at the Metrodome and enjoy that sunshine and warm weather.
It really is a beautiful day.
Well hit into center field. Lawton on the run. He will look up at the warning track. It's off the center field wall. Jeter around second. He'll go to third. A 2-out triple by Derek Jeter here in the 4th inning. And almost a home run. And I don't know if Jeter is hurt or not. The ball coming in, I think, kind of may have hit him in the back of the hand or the elbow or the head. I'm not sure.
Looks like he's shaking off some kind of pain there. In the knee, is he looking at his left knee or the right finger? We'll see if we can take a look at it here. Again on the outside part of the plate, but goes back over the center of the plate. And Jeter really gets under this, and Lawton going back and over his head. Another foot, and that's over the doggy bag, or whatever you call that thing, the hefty bag. Here comes Jeter into third. Let's see if we can pick this up. It looks like the ball hit him on the right hand, Bobby.
Yeah, it did. The throw coming in will catch Jeter right there on the right hand. Just looked like maybe the right wrist. So we're assuming that he's all right. He's talking it over with Willie Randolph.
Now, Willie's saying, are you all right? And Derek is saying, I don't come out of games. I don't miss games, and I don't come out of games.
He's a gamer. Paul O'Neill will try to drive him in. Outside for a ball.
What did I say, doggy bag? I meant
a doggy bag. Oh, well, whatever. We got the jest. I'll tell you what, outfielders like that little doggy bag you're talking about, because if you do happen to run into it, you're not gonna do much damage there. It almost looked like you'd rip right through it, but
looks like
there's a lot of cushion.
Little rips in there.
Yeah, that's the kind of wall that an outfielder can challenge. That's the reason Kirby Puckett, you know, he used to leap up and bring balls back over that fence just all the time. He made that. A lot of great catches here at the Metrodome. Goes all the way around the outfield. The doggy bag's a little bit higher here in right field. Outside corner. Strike 2, 1-2.
There's right-hander Dan Nolte warming up in the Twins bullpen.
New York leads at 4-0 with 2 outs here in the 4th inning. 8 hits off of Eric Milton so far. That'll be fouled out of play.
Milton really looks like he knows what he's doing out there, just can't really get it exactly where he wants. He's pitching outside, then coming back inside.
The count up at 2-2.
This is more what he did in the first inning. Everything is missing high, and he's missing on the outside part of the plate.
Well, he's 23 years old, and he's left-handed. That puts him in front of everybody else.
That's right.
Nice play by Coomer at first base to throw across to Milton covering. But it was Scott Brocious, his first home run of 1998 here in the 4th inning, and the Yankees lead it 4-0 over Minnesota.
Red tag.
Well, back at the Metrodome here in Minneapolis, the Yankees lead it 4-0. Twins coming to bat here in the 4th inning. Mendoza has given up only 1 hit through 3. And that was a leadoff double to Steinbach. Brent Gates leads it off for Minnesota, followed by Molitor and then Matt Lawton.
You know, Brent Gates, remember when he came up with Oakland, how much, right at the beginning, La Russa said he was going to be so great and play every position. He's batting 128.
Yeah, La Russa says everybody's going to be great. He's one of those guys who can really build up a player. Count 2 balls and a strike. Well, we've had a little bit of a controversy this year, I would say. David Wells in Texas, not too happy about being taken out of the game, and I understand that Joe Torre and David Wells had a meeting, Susan.
Well, it came off of that 7-run inning that David Wells gave up after the Yanks had a 9-0 lead, and it turns out that Torre had said to the reporters, I don't know, maybe he was out of shape. That would be our quote of the week. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe he's out of shape. Well, David Wells asked for a meeting with Mel Stottlemyre and Joe Torre yesterday, and though
will fly a ball into center field.
And though neither man would talk about it, this is what I've been able to find out. Evidently, Mel Stottlemyre came out to talk to David Wells on the mound about pitch selection.
That was in Texas,
That was in Texas. That was as the inning was unfolding, and Mr. Wells didn't like being talked to by the pitching coach, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that he said, okay, he wants me to throw a fastball or such, here it is. And maybe there was some problem there. So Wells went into Torre and Stottlemyre and wanted to know if they had lost faith in him, and pretty much was saying, let me throw my own game, I'll come through for you. You know, Torre, who is the most understanding man in the world, I guess accepted that, and had nothing to do with his weight. He didn't apologize. They didn't talk about him being overweight.
So the confidence is still there.
Well, Torre says he'll get the ball every 5th day, and as long as he performs, then we won't say a thing. But you start giving back 9-run leads, and you have to use your entire bullpen in a game that you shouldn't have, and your pitching coach doesn't like it a lot.
2 balls and a strike to Molitor. That was in Texas when the Yankees had taken a 9-0 lead through the first 2 innings, and then David Wells couldn't get anybody out. That's when it all started. Popped up on the infield. Brocious is there to get Mendoza out of the way, and there's 2 gone. New York Yankees baseball is sponsored by Ford. Expect more, get more. Let your Tri-State quality Ford dealers show you why there's more to afford. And by Avis. Avis cars come with Avis people, and trying harder is what they do best. And by Nissan, who remind you that life is a journey, so enjoy the ride.
They're at the plate.
Oh, I think it's just all part of baseball today. Out into left field, long run for Curtis, and he will get there. That's in fair territory. Nice play by Chad Curtis, and a play that is not very easy here at the Metrodome. 1-2-3 inning for Mendoza. Yankees lead it 4-0.
With AT&T One Rate, it costs $2.40 to make a 16-minute call from Miami to Chicago. With 10321, it's $4.47. With One Rate, it costs $1.20 to make an 8-minute call from Boston to Dallas. With 10321, it's $2.23. Surprised? Don't be. Most calls from home cost less with One Rate, without dialing any extra digits. Now, what state would you rather be in? If you don't have One Rate, get it today.
License, please. Was I speeding? Negative, but I see you're driving the all-new Seville STS with the North Star system. Most powerful front-wheel drive car in the world with performance.
4-0 here to top the 5th. Susan, what's the story of the week?
Well, I guess what we'd have to have is the return of Chuck Knobloch to Minnesota. That's what greeted Knobloch. He was saying hello to some of his ex-teammates. He had a very nice reunion with Pat Mears, who's not in that picture. Every time Knobloch got up, he was booed more and more. Now, this is something I didn't notice, and this is when Ochoa got injured the other night at second base. Both of them kind of talking to each other or at each other. No love lost there between the two of them.
But nevertheless, the quote from Tom Kelly was very gracious and complimenting Chuck Knobloch and what he meant for the Minnesota Twins and what he meant to them and how great a player he was. Bernie bounces one up the middle. Look at the play by Mears. Can he throw him out? No. An infield single by Williams. And another leadoff batter on for the Yankees.
And it's a terrific stop by Pat Mears. And this is one of the more underrated shortstops. And, of course, you play in a league with Jeter and Rodriguez. Look at that stop by Mears. And not easy on AstroTurf. But he's in a league. There's Garciaparra, there's Jeter, there's Rodriguez, there's Gonzalez. And he kind of gets... That a great stop. Very, very good play. I started to say he and Knobloch were very, very close friends and almost knew each other's movements after the 5 years that they played together as a double play combination.
So he's got to get used to Walker now at second base.
As Knobloch is getting used to Jeter. Mears said they knew when each other were going to breathe. They got so close. And Mears and Molitor were the two people that Knobloch talked to before he left Minnesota.
Tino Martinez fouls that one away. Tino 1 for 2 with an RBI. Oh no, the Pacers in overtime beat the Knicks 118 to 107. Reggie Miller again.
That sounds like a Reggie overtime, doesn't it? What do you do?
38 points by Reggie Miller.
Yeah, I saw the game tying 3 at the end of regulation.
Hit hard into center field, but Lawton will be there. Bernie will tag and try to make it to second. The throw is in time. So a good throw by Lawton in center field nails Bernie at second, and there's 2 gone.
Now Lawton does not have a good arm, and you're going to see people running on him a lot, but it just happened to get there in time. And I guess you test his arm, Bobby, because it is not a good arm, and that is his weakness, as you saw throwing in a couple of other plays. It's off the mark, but a good tag.
I can tell you, I think it is a good percentage play. You could see that Lawton was backing up, so you got to figure as a runner that he's throwing off balance anyway with a not a very good arm, and your chances are pretty good at making it. He just happened to make a perfect throw. So good play by Lawton. And there's 2 gone. And Tim Raines. 2 balls and a strike. Bernie's always been very aggressive on the base pass, and Joe Torre likes that. Leaning 4-0 now. I think that's a good percentage play.
Wells is telling him it's a good percentage. Wells is just one of the guys now, right? Tino's hitting him. Wells is hitting him.
Well, David Wells has got the meeting out of the way with the big brass and feels pretty good about it, I guess.
He's probably telling him, now if I were taking that jump, I would have done this, right? All right.
I don't think you want to mess with Bernie.
Bernie's got enough on
pretty
his
good
mind
without a shirt on. I think he can handle himself.
I think all this stealing, Bobby, how much do you think Chuck Knobloch has to do with this? Just the whole attitude.
I think he has a whole lot to do with it. The Yankees with 46 stolen bases, and they lead the major leagues in stolen bases. Whoever would have thought that about this ball club in '98? But I have no doubt that I think he's inspired the Yankees to start running. He's got 9 stolen bases along with Jeter.
But people watch that, and everybody watches the way he plays. There's another guy that's that same gritty kind of player, and that's Chad Curtis. Of course, that's probably why Curtis and Knobloch are best friends. They're always together.
Very valuable player in this ball club, Chad Curtis. Strike 1 to Curtis. Curtis 0 for 2. He's flied out both times to right field.
Curtis, another one who must be thinking what about last year at this time when he was in Akron, right, with the Cleveland Indians. They sent him down.
Well, you think of clubs like, well, you could even think of clubs like the Indians this year. How about the Mariners? Would they have liked to have a guy like Chad Curtis in their outfield? What a pickup for the Yankees. Off-speed pitch swung on and missed. Now it's 1-2.
Number 3110.
Now you see Milton's great breaking pitch right there, and Curtis really didn't have a chance at that. You know what's interesting about Curtis, Bobby, is that when a guy is traded 4 times, you think, what's wrong with him? He comes here, and people just sort of blend into the woodwork here. He has always contended, I can play every day, but on this team, I don't have to. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Torrey talked to him about not trying to show us that you can play. We know you can play. Relax.
See the muscles on Chad Curtis. Don Zimmer, I understand, is trying a little bit of that creatine too, you know, to build
really?
his muscles
that
up.
Protein stuff
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So Zim's into that now. Another fly ball to right field. 2 gone, so Raines is off. Catch is made by Merced on the warning track. That ball really carried real well, but you can see how strong he is. Yankees lead it 4-0. Yankees lead it 4-0. Minnesota coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th. And we want to wish a dear friend, Minnesota broadcaster Herb Carneal. His birthday is today, and he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster for this Minnesota ball club. What a nice guy he is. So happy birthday, Herb.
And they've been eating ice cream and
yeah,
over
sure.
there.
Okay.
I declined for us.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they
You're
brought
looking
it in,
out
but I said,
for us a little bit.
I'll try to help you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Ron Coomer leads it off for the Minnesota Twins here in the 5th inning. He's 0 for 1. Actually, today is my wife's birthday, so I want to wish my wife a happy birthday, which also is on Mother's Day.
Happy birthday, Kay.
I'm not going to tell you how old she is.
I think that's wise.
She doesn't look her age, let me say that.
No, that's what her age looks like now. That's what, if you take care of yourself, that's what you look like.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's the reason I look so good, right?
Absolutely. Okay, here we are. It's enough of that.
1-2 count on Coomer as we take a look at the Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard in the National League. Atlanta, San Diego tied up in the 6th inning. Colorado and Montreal. And you were telling me, Susan, in Montreal something about the dome. The roof is falling down.
Yeah, so they're taking it off. They're taking it off for the rest of the year.
Wow.
So when we get up there, there will be no roof on Olympic Stadium, which I have never seen.
Into left field, but Curtis is there, 1 gone. I've been to Montreal a couple of times when I was in the National League playing for the Cubs and the Giants. All I remembered is that they speak a lot of French there, and not much English.
That's right. Well, they don't like to speak English. They understand it. If you talk to them in English, they'll answer you in French.
Oui?
I have fun. Oui.
That's about all I know. Not you and me, but we.
C'est ça.
Orlando Merced, who's 0 for 1. The Twins only have 1 hit in the game. Well, I didn't even get it out of my mouth, and Merced picks up the 2nd base hit of the ball game.
Jeter had no shot to get over in front of that. That's what happens on this turf. That gets through here in a hurry. I think it gets through here quicker than any of the other places. Not a terrible pitch. It's a little up over the outside part of the plate, but he just bull cues it into center field.
Well, you know, Mendoza wants the hitters to hit the ball on the ground. That's his style of pitching. He can't control where it goes, obviously. So Merced will be on with 1 out. And Terry Steinbach, who has the other hit, steps in. Curveball swung on and missed, strike 1.
Mendoza seems to have movement, Bobby, that he hasn't had in the last couple of outings when he's been getting hit around a little bit. Ball is really breaking down.
Could be 2. Jeter to Knobloch for one. Back to Martinez. What a nifty double play. And when Mendoza pitches, you need those kind of plays. Twins are gone here in the 5th inning. And we play 5 here at the Metrodome. Coming in to join Susan Wall will be Tommy John. The Yankees lead it.
Back to the Metrodome, everybody. We are in the top of the 6th inning. It's 4-0 Yankees. And Thursday night, get ready for a Seinfeld sandwich. That's right. Starting at 7, you asked for it. The WB11's giving it to you. The classic shrinkage episode. Then in the middle, the Yankees take on Texas at 7:30, followed by a full hour of Seinfeld after the game. In honor of Seinfeld's last show, we're giving you the last laughs this Thursday starting at 7, only on the WB11. When we're back at the Metrodome, I'm Susan Waldman, joined again by Tommy John. Did you have one of Peg's hot dogs? Is that where you were?
Yes, I did, and I had some of Herb Carneal's birthday cake.
We declined on the birthday cake.
Why?
How was it? Was it good?
It was excellent. There is no such thing as bad birthday cake.
Dan Nolte has replaced Eric Milton, and he will face Jorge Posada, Scott Brocious, and Chuck Knobloch. Nolte, big guy, about 6'6", ERA of over 8 this year. Tommy, what did you think of Eric Milton?
Eric Milton threw the ball relatively well. I think he tended to probably overthrow because he was throwing against the Yankees, the team that traded him to the Twins. But you saw a lot of good things that you can take out of this game. You've given up 4 runs and 9 hits, but yet you saw a lot of good things that they can take to his next start.
Outside 2-1 to Jorge Posada. Posada in this game has doubled to right field and grounded out to the shortstop in the 4th inning. One of the things I did see was that he doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he certainly knows how to pitch.
Well, he's not afraid to throw the ball over the plate. Once in a while, he got a little nibbly early in the count, but that happens to everybody. But he threw 100 pitches in his 5 innings, and he threw 61 strikes, and that's pretty good. That's very good. The thing that he would have to work on, if I were his coach, let's work on getting a lot of first pitch strikes.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Jorge Posada. Nice breaking pitch as Nolte strikes him out right there.
Dan Nolte's got a nasty, nasty split finger forkball. And that's, watch the ball go down, straight down, and that was it. Nolte was the closer for a while for the Twins when Dave Stevens was not doing that well. You see that little funky looking spin on it? That was a good camera angle right there. Picked up what a forkball looks like, or a split finger looks like to a batter.
There's the fastball inside for a strike, inside part of the plate. Scott Brocious 1 for 2 this afternoon. That's solo home run, his first of the year. You see him sitting next to Bernie on the bench. 0-1 to Brocious. Low for ball 1. So you see Nolte setting him up with fastballs and then going to that splitter as the out pitch when he's got 2 strikes?
That's his out pitch, is his split, and he can throw the ball exceptionally well. Really throws the ball hard. It has that big long look, and he gives you an elbow, a knee, and then all of a sudden he throws and falls off the mound. And he's probably more deceptive than he is a raw talent.
That was a nice breaking pitch for a strike. 1-2 on Brocious. This is inside with the straight fastball. Now that last pitch for a strike, that almost looks like a curve, but it's a very tight curve. So is that a slider? Is he throwing a slider, or is he throwing a tight curve?
Well, he may call it a slider. That was a forkball right there.
Grounder to third, Gates over to Coomer and misses the ball. That'll be a base hit, and Brocious will go to second base. Now that's one of those turf bounces, huh, Tommy?
That was a bounce that was a forkball, and the ball, it's really hard in front of home plate, whether the ball hits the turf or hits the dirt, and that ball hit the dirt and bounced right straight up in the air. This is a third baseman that has a second baseman's arm. Ron Coomer, a little better arm. Scott Brocious could have made this play right here because he's got a gun. Brent Gates does not have a gun, and as a result, it's a base hit and an error.
Now, Tom Kelly moves people around. Coomer plays third. He played third last year. Walker was playing third last year, and now they've settled on Gates, who is a second baseman.
Well, they're going to have to do that with Ortiz out with the broken hand, the hook of the hammock.
Yeah, that's a shame.
He was really swinging. Yeah. I liked his action at first base. He wasn't afraid to swing the bat either.
Chuck Knobloch up again. That's why you heard the boos with Scott Brocious taking a small lead off of second base. Baby lead. Yeah, Ortiz really looked like he was going to be a very good hitter. Still, maybe he's still very young. He's only about 22, right? But they love the way he was in Double-A last year at this time. One ball, no strikes to Chuck Knobloch. Scott Brocious on second base because of the error. There's one out here. Top of the 6th, 4-0 Yankees. Inside for a ball, 2-0.
The Twins AAA ball club, the Hardware City Rockcats. I love that name. I think it's New Britain, I think, or something up in there.
Double-A? Oh, yes, yeah. I think that is New Britain. It is
Hardware City Rockcats.
That's exactly what it is. New Britain. That is called Hardware City because of?
I have no idea.
Wait,
they make jewelry there.
No.
Oh.
Is it Black & Decker? I don't know.
Oh, is it? I don't have any idea.
It is, okay. 3-0 to Knobloch. Brocious on second, one out here, 4-0 Yankees, top of the 6th. Here's the 3-0. Strike on the inside part of the plate.
Nolte spent last year trying to rehab from a surgery. He went on the DL in '96, and they had to take out part of a top rib. He was getting an impinged nerve in his shoulder.
There's a ball up high, so first and second with one out here. Now, Tommy, a big guy like that, what is he, about 6'6", 6'7"?
6'6", 6'7".
How difficult is that to pick up the motion? And on the other hand, when your mechanics go, there's a lot more room for those mechanics to go. It's a lot easier.
The reason it's hard, Susan, for a pitcher, your center of gravity is so high. That's why it's a wonder that Randy Johnson pitches as well as he does, because your center of gravity is high and you have a tendency to get off balance. But when you're tall, I think you're up on a 10-inch mound and you look so imposing that if I were that tall, I would try to find some way to have a little more elusive motion. Maybe like a Tiant or a Warren Spahn or somebody where you have a leg kick, arm comes down, boom, and Nolte doesn't do a bad job of it. But it just would make you look more imposing than what you are at a mere 6'7".
One strike on Derek Jeter. That's inside. Jeter already today 2 for 2 and a walk. He singled in the first inning, scored a run, and tripled in the 4th. And he is our player of the week. Look at that, Tommy.
What does he get for that?
He gets to be player of the week.
Oh, okay.
Of the 7 hits given up by Mike Morgan, Derek had one of those. He was 1 for 3 last night.
You've seen Mike Morgan pitch.
Forever.
That's as... I told Mike today coming into the ballpark, I came out here real early, and I said, Mike, that's as well as I've ever seen you pitch. And he said, I threw a little bit of everything last night. Fork balls, and, you know, he's...
Such a great story. Such a great story. From '78, when Charlie Finley signed him and had him pitch in the major leagues first week after high school, to him wanting to pitch in 4 decades. He wants to hang on 2 more years. 1 and 2 pitch inside to Derek Jeter. Wants to pitch in the year 2000. He'll hang on enough. His stuff is good enough, don't you think?
To pitch into the year 2000?
Yeah.
Why not?
2 more years. Why not?
He takes care of himself.
2 and 2 to Jeter. Knobloch at first. Brocious at second. 1 out here in the 6th. 4-0 Yanks. 2-2 base hit to left field. Here comes Brocious. Is going to be held up at third. Latham gets it back very, very quickly. And the bases are loaded and 1 out, and Paul O'Neill will be the batter.
Nolte throws a high sinker, and Susan, high sinkers get hit hard. And Derek Jeter's well on his way to be Susan Waldman's player of the week for 2 years or 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he's having a great week.
Well, that was a good job by Willie Randolph, going down the line about 40 feet, holding Brocious up, waiting to see what the throw was going to be from Chris Latham. And it was right on line, and Willie wisely held up the speedy Scott Brocious.
Speedy Scott Brocious. Also, Latham has a pretty decent arm, but also you can use the turf so much here.
It's night and day. You can take a guy, Susan, with a mediocre arm, average arm, and make him into a good outfielder on turf. If that's in Yankee Stadium, you may possibly send him because the turf, the grass, the natural grass will have a tendency to hold the ball up.
Here's Tom Kelly coming out. It looks like Eddie Guardado down there. My eyes are going, but I guess it must be Guardado down there. And it is indeed, and that'll be all for Dan Nolte. And here comes Guardado, stocky left-hander coming in to face Paul O'Neill. And we'll be back. It is 4-0 Yankees, bases loaded, 1 out. We'll be right back. It's 4-0 Yankees, but the bases are loaded. Dan Nolte in to face Paul O'Neill. Best team in baseball's coming home, folks. 10-game homestand, the Royals, Rangers, and the Twins. And on Sunday the 17th, fans 14 and younger will receive a Valentino Beanie Baby. What is it? Beanie Babies. I'm not sure what those are. It's a Beanie Baby. What is it? The little
That's
thing,
a little
doll.
thing filled with...
What is a I still don't know what a Valentino Beanie Baby is.
Well, come out. Here's the thing. Come out to the ballpark
and find out. Okay, all right. Very good, Tommy. Eddie Guardado in to face Paul O'Neill. 1 ball and a swinging strike. So 1-1 to O'Neill. The Orioles come in after the Twins. Nolte, stocky left-hander. Veteran now, 2-1, 2.51 ERA. Excuse me, Guardado.
I nickname Eddie